Well, there we... What on earth is that? S4 3.2? I don't know. I assume that's some kind of built-in moddy thing. I don't have any mods on this. This was just the GOG version. Um, Well, we're at credits now, so babbling, babbling, babbling. Also, this is probably copyrighted music, which means it's probably content ID'd. And I might have to switch it off, which is really, really frustrating. Or something. So, what to say about Fallout 2? I enjoyed it up until kind of the end. Although there were a few bits earlier on where I was kind of a bit, like, I think very early on, to begin with, it was kind of a bit, well, and then we got to, so I kind of struggled a little bit to begin with because of my character build, and then we played through, and and the character build was working, and then we got to the final section on the oil rig, and the problem with the oil rig, ultimately, was that there were times when it's like, okay, well, I have to fight, or I have to have explosives. Never had to use them before, my trap skill was only 22 at the end. You kind of... I mean, if you're not a fighter, that guy's tough. So you've got to be a talker, and you've got to be able to, and you've got to know, and you've got to go and kill the guy. So I ended up having to use an exploit, which I'm not normally a fan of using. It feels like an exploit. I shouldn't say it is an exploit. It feels like an exploit. It might be intentional. I don't know. So it felt like towards the end, it had the issue that I've heard about Vampire Bloodlines. Which I played and enjoyed, which is you can have a very kind of particular character build, which works up until the end game where it goes, combat is now the thing you're focusing on, which is really frustrating because Fallout 1 didn't have that problem. I didn't play a combat character, and when I went to deal with the Master, I talked him down, and I snuck into the place with the FEV vats, and blew them up using my hacking. So I never had to fight, whereas towards... Obviously, obviously there's the final boss you deal with. I also wasn't a fan, and this is something I've complained about in Banner Saga 2, I wasn't a fan of the conclusions in this, in that a lot of the choices... A lot of the kind of conclusion-y, epilogue-y bits felt a bit forced, like like for example the death claws. Oh, the death claws! You killed them. No, I didn't kill them. I did not kill them, which kind of is frustrating. There were a few other things like in a way which part of me likes, but also part of me is a bit like for example, you had I don't know. I can just like stop talking and kind of think a bit more now that the copyrighted music has stopped in the background. But you've got Gecko. So you're doing this thing where you go to Gecko, you go to the Vault City, and then you head to Gecko, and you kind of work on building up a peaceful relationship. Maybe I missed something, but then the game goes, oh yeah, and because of all your work on making a peaceful relationship between the two, actually Vault City invade, and they take it over, and they enslave all of the ghouls. Which is a bit jerky, really, if we're honest. I think you also have the issue where, like, Vault City did so many different things. Like, it's kept getting attacked by raiders, but so it had to join the NCR. But at the same time, it's fighting with the NCR over Reading, and it's invading Gecko. It's like, well, I mean, if they're invading somewhere... basically occupying it, of course they're going to be weaker to raiders, so why didn't they pull back? It's what the Romans did in the Roman Empire. So I think there are a few points where that kind of didn't seem to make sense, which is kind of sad. In general, I think my issue with this game, there are so many places, so many amazing places, and partially it's my fault. It's my fault that I didn't explore that as much as I probably should have done. And maybe if I'd done slightly different quests, if I'd gone back to Vault 15, that epilogue would be different. Because I probably would have been able to fight Darian? or whatever his name was, who was in the vault, so that Vault 15 would then make a deal with the NCR, and that might have changed some of the different things. I kind of like that your decisions have an impact, even if that decision is not to do a quest, rather than a decision that's within a quest. I do quite like that. But the problem with doing that is if a player, forgets, that they have a quest, then they have that slight issue of not actually making a decision. They go, I won't do that now, I won't do that at the moment. Or even the position we were in, I can't do that at the moment. And that situation, and especially if you've gone around and done a quest another way, you kind of you end up in a position where you're not doing what you probably in some ways should be doing, which is dealing with it by blah, 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 blah. You go around doing different things. You don't necessarily make the decisions you should do. I think it's kind of, I'm thinking about it, and it's like this. There were a few different options as to what would happen. Some of the different thoughts, some of the different conclusions didn't fit well together, which I think is something that should be thought about, really. But it's like they mentioned Reading. I think I went there once looking for a wrench. Broken Hills. I stopped there on the way down to NCR. But other than, I think, a few places... So you got those two areas that I only visited once. The Den I ended up avoiding after the first calamitous playthrough of the Let's Play. So there's a few different issues with the story, and I think they'd be really cool, and they could be really cool in like a pen and paper RPG where you could then take a break. Oh yeah, you guys have done all of this stuff. How about we all make new characters, and I'll come up with a connecting little time period and give you kind of a new adventure, which would be really cool. But of course, there isn't another Fallout like this one, I think. Well, kind of. There's Fallout Tactics, but I think that's more of like a tactical, strategic MMO of things, in comparison to a full-on RPG like this. And then the next proper, and then there's the kind of slightly more action adventure-y, I think, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, which is on the PlayStation. And is it on Xbox? It might have been. Fallout 2 is brought to you by Interplay Productions, Team Fallout 2, The Letter Q, and numbers 42 and 20. Of course, you have to say 42. Of course you do. And then you get Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4, which are a bit different. Which are kind of very different. I think they're more akin to Oblivion and Skyrim from the Let's Plays of them I've seen. I kind of enjoyed the music, which is... I've enjoyed the music. I do quite like some of the RPGs that are like this, like kind of the isometric view. Okay, really fine if you really must. Did you find the extra special encounters? I don't know, what were they? But I think some of them, yeah. I've enjoyed the music has been good. Something I always try and mention, because then I can say, oh, I'm actually critiquing the music as well. Gets out some of the content stuff. Content ID things. Keep looking. Credit to keeping going, apparently. But, yeah, so story, I think... I enjoyed the story, it's just the little epilogue stuff that bothers me. And I think from a gameplay perspective, I don't like the ending, because everything else is so open-ended that any build can almost get round any quest. Maybe you'll find the Maltese Falcon. I don't know, a particular one? So there's yeah, and where was I going? I'm getting distracted by reading this. So yeah, I think storyline I liked it. Gameplay I didn't really like the end. In the oil rig, because it felt like almost like it would have been easier for me if I'd had a very particular build, if I'd had a different build, rather than if I'd interacted with different people in different ways. Do I wish to continue playing? Why? No. We'll go with no to that one. Oh, that's kind of cool that you could keep going. I think I'm frustrated with... Weirdly, I'm almost frustrated... No, I was going to say, for the opposite reason, I was frustrated with Inquisition, which isn't true. In Inquisition, I was frustrated that there was too much busy side stuff. And in this one, there was... It didn't feel like the side stuff was that important, or I ended up forgetting about it. Like the Vault 15 thing, I probably could have gone back with the team I had and fought my way through and killed off what's-his-face. I could have done what I did with the President, although that would have meant I wouldn't have had the super stims needed. So there's a few side things that I think, if I'd been playing this through, I would have done, instead of Let's Playing it, but playing it solidly. Or maybe if I just weren't doing 5 different Let's Plays, I probably would have gotten. But like Reading, there was almost nothing there. I think maybe there was one quest I picked up. It was just different. Well, I think there were 2 different quests, but they were basically help get such and such a thing and give it to so and so. Get like some kind of machine part and give it to so and so. And it was the same machine part. So it was just one quest. It was just a decision, who do you give it to? Broken Hills, I don't think we even got a quest. We got some interesting facts. We found out some things about Broken Hills, which was kind of cool, but it didn't really go anywhere. Which is kind of frustrating. That, oh, here is this conclusion to this area that you've had no real connection with. And again, I think the Den suffered... The Den's background... Nope. The Den's background had the same kind of issue in that... Or the Den's conclusion, sorry. Had the same kind of issue in that, as Vault 15 and the NCR, in that... if I'd gone back and tried to kill Metzger, which I had no real motivation to do, from an in-game perspective, if I'd had a motivation and B, been reminded about it towards the end, I might have gone, okay, let's go and do it. And then maybe there is that kind of, you should want to do it to stop the slaving, but it's like, I can't. There's like, what was it? There were like 5 or 6 different. There were like 4 or 5 guards in the room with Metzger, plus all the other guys. So you're gonna have to do. Again, it goes back to that kind of possible exploity thing of healing to death, that you'd have to do, which is kind of. So I think there's a few issues with the ending, with the endings, with the end game in and of itself, which is really frustrating because I was actually kind of thinking, up until that end bit, I was thinking, oh, this is better than the first game, and I think the end for me, playing a non-combat-y character, is revealing that actually the first game, at least in that regard, was better in that it allowed. It did allow you to have a wider kind of build. I think, in the first game, it was this guy, he was meant to be more of a chatty fellow, and I think he became a tad bit more combat-y. Whereas in the first one, he was... Go away. In the first one, he was a scientist and a doctor, and he was sent out because he would be able to know what he was looking for with the water chip. And he kept up his science, and he went through, and he ended up solving both of them through science. He hacked the FEV computers to blow it up, and he convinced the master that the science didn't stack up, and so he blew himself up. Whereas this one, with my chatty fellow, I ended up in a final boss fight with no way of talking out of it, it seems. I say that I got help, but more of the help I got was from you basically killing the president with healing items, I think. So, the ending was a bit subpar, and I've kind of ranted about that. It's turned into a credits end game rant rather than a credits ramble. I've enjoyed it. This is the thing: is I'm annoyed. I focused on the bad because everything else was enjoyable. So the end game frustrated me because the rest of it was really good. Because it was really good. Don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know. Maybe I'll play a game. What will I play? Who knows? Oh. So there we go. The end of Fallout 2. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for watching.